Today's Cosplay Con Talk episode is sponsored by Moco Queen Color Contacts. Don't forget to use my code Wayne for 10% off at checkout at mocoqueen.com. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. How's everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome back to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay communities and conventions. It's been a while since we've done one of these cosplayer interviews, but we're finally back with more. On today's episode, tomorrow, tonight, whenever you are watching this, I'm joined here by Pacific Northwest cosplayer Chaos In Motion. Again, Chaos, thank you for coming on want to be part of this cosplayer interview.
Yeah, no, of course. I've watched a whole bunch of them, and it's fun to get to know everybody and see people beyond just the costumes that they're wearing.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. Real quick, I gotta ask, what made you come up with the name Chaos In Motion?
In case you can see behind me, right? This is my organizational style, piles. So really, when I'm crafting, cosplaying, whatever I'm doing, except for serious work, it's chaos. It's a controlled chaos, but it is chaos. There will be things everywhere. There will be piles, lots of curse words when not in a PG-13 environment. But yeah, that's where the chaos comes from.
I got checks out camera. Okay, well, that's weird. All right. So how long have you been cosplaying for, and what made you want to get into cosplay?
So I have been cosplaying since 2005. Before that, I was a partial theater kid. I did theater stuff. I liked getting in costumes and performing. I did enjoy Halloween, but really it was only like very fractional amount of my time. My family wasn't really into the arts. They were more of an athletic family, so I could really only put time into that kind of stuff when I wasn't, doing 3 different sports and burning my body into the ground. Um, but once I went off and got into college, I was introduced to anime and a lot of comic books and fantasy movies, Lord of the Rings, things like that. And I just kind of really fell in love with the idea of not just getting to pretend to be someone that you really like and admire, a character that has just become a part of you for whatever reason. People have so many reasons for choosing characters that they want to cosplay. But it was also like the crafting part of it. I really like to make stuff with my own hands. Just try and figure things out. I was never really taught how to do any of this. And back, in 2005, there really weren't that many tutorials or anything like that. It was really just, the scientific method, fail until you figured it out.
I mean, with that being over 20 years ago and cosplay still kind of relatively new, there's like just, only a few niche, things for it, shiny, very, very, very shiny, bright wigs. And,
Yes.
and if you wanted to order a cosplay, you would have to like go up a size or two because not many people were, there were a handful of people that were making their own cosplays back then. But if you couldn't afford it, you have to go online and hope you can find one that is your size and hope it would get on time because there was no US stores like websites to order a cosplay. You had to order from across this, order from a different country and hope it would get to you on time.
Yeah, you would have to spend hours upon hours searching Google, going through hundreds of pages of searches because none of these places popped up right away. Finding places to try and find a wig or, those exercise mats that people were cutting up for armor or any of the really early thermoplastics, which were not that great and created what we lovingly call bucket shoes. Um, but yeah, it was definitely an experience working through that, especially with being plus sized because a lot of my stuff I had to thrift or um, I would try and find fabrics because back in the day when I started, I didn't have I didn't have a good job and like money. I was putting myself through college, and I would go to the thrift stores and use sheets and stuff until the cosplays I wanted to make I wouldn't have enough fabric and sheets anymore. Uh, and you could try. There were places like Fan Plus Friend. That was one of the first places I found that would make a custom size plus size. Now they would charge you extra, and it would take them longer, and it wouldn't necessarily fit the way it should fit a plus size person. But it was something you could put on your body, and you could go out there and have fun with everybody else.
I know with like speaking of material, especially for bigger build people and everything, the material is going to cost more because that's more that needs to be added on. And I'm sure when you've made your cosplays, you have to buy more material and everything.
I do. Not just because I'm big, but I'm also tall. Especially when I have the heels on, or whatever it is that I would have to be for that cosplay shoe. So a lot of fabrics they don't actually make them wide enough for me to use like a normal yardage. So a lot of times for me to get like a circle skirt or something like that, if I don't want to piece it together from a lot of geometry and a lot of cutting a bunch of triangles, I have to sew two whole widths of fabric together and then like fold it to try and get like a skirt that I could do for my size. Or I have to try and look specifically for fabric companies, and they're not here. Most of them would be from like AliExpress, like over in Asia or India,
Oh yeah,
direct from the
clear
source.
across the pond, and then again,
Hmm.
you're spending. I mean, well, it's not more like spending wise; it's more time wise. Will it get in time?
Because you have to wait sometimes you can get it within a couple weeks, but usually it's a couple months. So I have to plan stuff ahead of time, and then that's if everything goes well. Sometimes you don't get your order until 3 weeks before the con, and you have a ball gown to make, and them's the breaks.
I mean, which brings me to a question I gotta ask, 'cause we actually get on my list here first, because with the cosplays we talk about, I need to write down. Give me a minute here. It's been a while since I've done one of these lists. Any minute now. There we go. Create note. Um, so speaking of, how much time, effort, and money went into, I think it was your Tinkerbell cosplay.
Oh,
Which
Tink.
also which also congratulations, I believe you won in that cosplay.
Yep, Tink was a Rose City Best in Show. Yeah. And she was definitely a labor of love. For She wasn't as quite as expensive as some of my other ones because I actually reused a lot of the fabric for her. I had one of the first cosplays that I made myself was my Merida cosplay by Hannah Alexander, and it had this really long kind of ombre dyed skirt and chiffon at the bottom. Well, I couldn't. The rest of the cosplay was kind of falling apart, and I didn't want to waste, all that beautiful fabric. So I kind of took that fabric and I, decided to make it into a new fabric. I made the dye a little more weird, um, and I decided to make my own jerry rigged silk steamer, and I like made so it's called shibori. So you kind of fold it up into like the shape you wanted, and mine was irregular crinkles to try and make it look like leaves, like a jungle leaf or something like that. And yeah, you steam it into place after you've like soaked it in a certain acid base kind of liquid, and then it'll pretty much stay like that unless you really go at it with a steamer or some heat to try and get it out. But yeah, she had that skirt was 20 yards of chiffon, that and I used all of it because there's like 3 layers of skirts on that, as well as the rest of the fabric I used and made individual petals for flowers. And her entire bodice is covered in handmade flowers, with different silks, velvets, and that chiffon, and then little fiber optic light flowers too. So she also was my first exploration into working with leather. So I did some leather tooling and stamping and stuff like that.
For anyone wanting to see, I mean, that right there, like, from the shoes to, like, the
Mhm.
wings.
Yeah, the shoes, those are hand wet felted. So those shoes are made from
I
wool.
know this this sorry, this is like a question I would ask during the cosplay portion. I really sorry. As I was showing people, I really again, this is something I would ask during the cosplay portion. I just wanted to show and show off and admire the Tinkerbell cosplay. We'll talk more about it, but before we get into the cosplay stuff, I always talk about convention stuff first. Do you remember what your first convention was and how long ago it was?
That would have been the summer of 2006, and it was Anime Expo. So it was definitely it was the very last one at the Anaheim Convention Center, I think, before they moved to the Los Angeles Convention Center. So the one right next to Disneyland was the one where that one was, and it was definitely an experience for my first time. I I went with my ex and all of their friends, and I actually wasn't allowed to cosplay. They had this weird rule where first timers weren't allowed to cosplay. So there I
Wait, wait,
was,
wait,
you
wait,
know.
wait, 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 wait. The con or
No,
your
no, no.
ex and the friend?
My ex and their friends. Yeah.
Excuse me, and I'm allowed to, and we're allowed to use one F bomb in here. But what kind of gatekeeping bullshit is that? Oh, you can't. It's like it says this reminds me of the stereotypical movie, high school movies when it comes to the cool kids table. You can't sit with us.
Oh yeah, no, they were all essentially cool kid table. That was the vibe. So
Well, your
it,
ex
it was
sounds like a douche. I can see why they're an ex.
valid. Yes. They're actually so another reason why I cosplay is definitely spite. They did not believe I would be capable of making my own cosplays. Um
Well, here you are
or
20 years. Here you are 20 years later, proving them wrong.
exactly.
I imagine they're punching the air right now.
But yeah, I mean, it to go to a con that big for your first time, it's
Oh yeah, you
definitely very overwhelming.
you literally, as I put it, as I categorize it, you know, you could have gone to Disneyland, but you said instead you decided to go to Disney World.
Yeah,
And
pretty much.
I've seen Anime Expo, and that looks so intimidating for someone who's gone to KomoriCon and potentially Rose City. That con looks too intimidating right now. They do really need to get a bigger space, especially after
And
what I've seen and heard, and how they had to had the fire marshals involved because everyone's body heat was just yeah.
and this was back when, they had really outgrown that convention center. So this was the last year they had it. They moved because they had outgrown the Anaheim Convention Center. So
Oh, geez.
it was definitely already packed. All the hotels were packed. Plus, so there's all the Disney traffic. So we actually didn't weren't able to get a hotel, and they weren't able to get us a ride home either. So we actually slept outside on the concrete, um, of the convention center during the con. So that was another great, fun, wonderful experience that I do not recommend at all.
Wait, wait, wait. You had to sleep where now?
We slept outside of the convention center.
Because what the hotels were booked, or was that just waiting to get in line?
No, no, there were hotels that were booked, and they couldn't get us. They were supposed to have a ride home for us, my ex, and they couldn't get us a ride home. And we
Oh
couldn't afford
god,
a taxi, so
your
that was just a
your ex just fumbled that whole thing. I'm glad it didn't, like, ruin your, experience of going to cons in the future.
no, no, it was 'cause I mean, I was fascinated. I mean, like I told you, we were an athletic family. My family was also extremely conservative, very, very conservative. So I go off to college, and then, I meet my ex, and they're introducing me to all this stuff, and then we go to Anime Expo, and I'm there, back in the days of Man-Fae and yaoi paddles and,
And glomp
this song's
circles.
breaking out, people glomping other
Oh,
people.
wait, no. Oh, g were glom circles, I feel like, died in 2010 because I remember in, like, 2009, glom circles and yaoi powders were still pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, this was back, when they were big, and it was at a huge con where, all these crazy things were happening, where Yaya Han was becoming famous and,
Oh,
in
she
her
was
career and all these things. And I was, seeing all this stuff happen, watching their cosplay contests and all the stuff that they had going on. The merchandise hall for me was crazy. I'd never seen anything like that. I'd gone to like Christmas bazaars, but I'd never been to, any kind of convention at all other than that. So like I saw everything. I saw the comics, the manga, the people running around in fun shirts and, just absolute, pandemonium, but it was fun and everybody was having a good time and no one really cared about, at that point in time there weren't follower counts, there weren't real famous Instagram cosplayers or
you
TikTok
you you you
cosplayers.
you you don't
It
have,
was
and I'm gonna throw some shade here, be a little petty. You don't have big time cosplayer content creators saying that, cosplay contests aren't part of the cosplay community. I had to say that.
I
I had to say it because, and I am doing a podcast panel again for cosplay contests, but, I kinda had to throw a little petty shade there.
Oh no, throw all the shade you want. I'm quite disappointed as an old person like me would say. So
We're not gonna drop any names on who said it, but if you know, you know.
if you know, you know. And but I mean it was very different because there was very little judgment. I mean there was still, there were still the, the mean girls and, the people that, were gonna be jackasses, excuse me. But
No, no, you're
you're
fine.
always gonna find those in every single community. But it was far more welcoming, and I'd never really been a part of something like that before that was so fun and welcoming. And it didn't really matter what color your hair was or whether you were in cosplay or not or what fandom you were a part of. We were all just a bunch of nerds having fun, and I kind of miss that.
This actually brings me to a question I think I'm gonna ask, especially those who've been cosplaying for a super long time. What similarities and differences have you noticed when it comes to the con scene? Especially
uh,
since you've been doing it for over 20 years, or going for 20
I'm
years.
Yeah, it is very, very different. A lot of the panels are different. Especially I think more on the West Coast, I've noticed a lot of change in the kind of panels. To me, I kind of see on the West Coast, there's a lot more performance panels and crafting and more professional panels. Also, stuff like on how to be a professional cosplayer. Whereas, like when I would go to Hallmat or panels that I kind of see shown in cons elsewhere, there's more fandom panels, which I think we've kind of lost, and that was always a very strong
We
component.
don't see a whole lot we don't see a whole lot of those
Mm-mm.
nowadays, because
Yeah,
like, the con is just overbooking panels left and right.
yeah, and they're booking a lot more of like educational panels or, kind of cosplay or nerd academia panels, I would say. People breaking down things, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I just remember all of the little game shows or all the little Oron host clubs that you'd go and take part in, or just silly panels like that, where you would just go and have fun and really kind of immerse yourself in just this fandom instead of like going to a professional conference, which there's nothing wrong with the professional conference. I enjoy a lot of the panels and things that we have now and that's available. But the inner child seems to have been stripped from a lot of these conventions, I would say. Which is partly why when I try and do panels, I try and bring things like games, like Family Feud. I have one with someone else where we do bingo and trivia.
See, that
I
is
want to.
I wanna do that more at cons myself,
Mhm.
is like the trivias, because I can think of a lot of questions, especially pertaining to, like, video games, like, play like a video game sound, like, what video game is this from, or something like that, you
Yeah,
know?
like what, the common, a Jeopardy topic that's, common anime ringtone sounds. That would be fun. Or I'm thinking of bringing a what was it, a Deal or No Deal panel, where you have
Ooh.
maids and butlers that are holding the suitcases. Just fun, silly stuff that I don't see a lot of, and I know it might just be because a lot of us are getting older, so the content itself is maturing a little bit, maybe. Um, and that's a possibility. But I also think a lot of it does have to do with people trying to make it into something marketable. Everybody wanting to make sure that what they do, when it's seen or posted on Instagram or TikTok, because everyone's going to have their phone out, is that it's going to look like they're a serious cosplayer, a serious fandom person. They want it to be marketable. They want it to be consumable, and for me, the whole everything is kind of just about letting go. Cosplay in itself is costume play. And when I'm at a convention, I'm there to play. I'm not really there, even if I'm gonna start doing some small guesting and stuff. And even when I am guesting, it is possible to still be playful and have that side, and still be professional and be able to do your job. You don't. It doesn't have to be as, I don't know. I think as grand and serious as a lot of people have.
It shouldn't have to be a competition, you know?
Exactly. Yeah,
Like,
it doesn't really matter to me. I know it matters to a lot of people because it is their, it's their livelihood, not, the person we were talking about that we're disappointed in earlier. But
oh, I
it's
mean,
not a lot of people's livelihood, and if it's not your
no.
livelihood, you shouldn't have to worry about being, that serious about everything.
And this kinda brings me to a question, because 'cause you've been doing this for a long time, and I kinda wanna touch base on the cosplay the contest portion. I'm sure you're a firm believer that cosplay contests are part of the community, and, you know, what is your opinion on cosplay contests and everything, and what should someone, 'cause, and again, I'm gonna go more full into this for a separate
Yeah.
video, but I wanna get your opinion on what a first time cosplay contest, competitor should expect, and what they should not do, and what they should do.
So as far as what they should expect everything to go wrong. As much as our coordinators, and we all love our coordinators. Some are horrible, some are really great, some are just doing the best they can with what the con will allow them. But really, no plan ever survives contact with the enemy. No plan ever does. You can try and plan stuff as much as you want, but sometimes light cues won't work, or someone might play the wrong sound when you're going on, and you're not going to have the song that you wanted to pose to, or something's going to break on stage because they said they were going to have a ramp, but they didn't. So the prop that you had, you now had to lift up onto the stage, and it wasn't built that way. Or someone's going to accidentally step on your long dress or your cloak, and it's going to rip, or a fastener's going to break off, or something is gonna happen. Your build book, you couldn't get it printed in time, so you're handing them, single page printed photos that you got 3 seconds earlier from the hotel lobby. Um, I would just expect, especially for a first contest, and even as you go through, and it doesn't matter how big or small the contest is. I have been in super, super tiny contests where, it was the best run thing I've ever been in, to a giant contest with tons of sponsors at a huge con where everything is just cuckoo banana pants. And you're tired, you're frustrated, and you just have to remember that things will go wrong. But that's not to say that contests aren't extremely fun. Um, what I love and what I want people to expect, other than things will go wrong, because you're already going to be nervous, you're going to be frustrated, you might even feel a little sick to your stomach or anything because you have nerves, going up on stage, showing off something that you're doing, whether it's a performance that you've curated or whether it's, a costume that you've crafted from the threads to the wig. Um, but just remember that everybody else, for the most part, back there, whether it's the people helping you on stage, the coordinators, the helpers, just making sure that you have water, or that that you're doing okay. They've all felt that. Most of them have competed in cosplay contests before. Most of them were theater kids, so they know you're nervous and they just want to help. And then all of the other contestants, go talk to them. The green room experience, I mean, that right there, if you like to craft or you like to perform in cosplay contests, and it doesn't really matter whether your costume is, it's a performance and you bought the costume, or it's a huge crown competition and you've made everything. No matter who you're talking to, people back in the green room, they want to see your costume. They want to talk about it. They might be really nervous because they don't know how to go up and talk to you. They might be me and their face looks absolutely horrible because they're tired, sick, and in pain and wearing 800 pounds of fabric. But I guarantee you, if you go up to somebody and say, "Hey, I really like that," or "How did you do that?" or I'm really nervous. How are you doing? Or just go and stare at them awkwardly for a while. They will probably stare awkwardly back until they say something as well. And that that is where you find these great, amazing bonds. Because you can bond through your nerves, through performances, love of fandom, through your favorite glue for rhinestones, for your favorite prop, and you can talk and just, bond through why people craft, because they're different people craft for different reasons, different people perform for different reasons. And you make the best friendships back there. Not only, crafting relationships, but just basic friendships. And I have a lot of found family that I never would have met otherwise. I never would have probably spoken to otherwise. I never would have had the balls to slide into their DMs and be like, "Hey, I would like to be your friend." But when you're in the green room, there's just you're already all there. There's a common space that you can start, a relationship with, and it's a great place to form community. Whether that community spreads out into the TikTok or the internet space, or whether it becomes a community where you go off and you do photo shoots or have cosplay picnics, or just go hang out and watch the latest anime movie that came out, or go get boba tea. It
Or if you're like our friend group, we go to Red Robin
exactly, yeah.
after the last day of con,
Mhm.
you know? And
Yeah, you
and
you
see
you find a group to have post-con fun with, and It's that right there for me is the contest experience, and everybody will always see, those photos with everybody up on stage, and it doesn't matter if you won, it doesn't matter, about that at all because you're all up there supporting each other, and it's all about the support and the community and making sure that someone knows, hey, I appreciate what you did and I want to see you do something else and come back so I can support you again.
No, I completely agree. Like I know people, you know, will have this idea of like when they see about the cash prize or the sponsors and the fame and
Mhm.
notoriety, it's like, yeah, that's great and all, but like if that is, I feel like if that is what you're going in for, you know, it's gonna be reality's gonna hit you hard is
Mhm.
if you're going in with that mindset of like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna get all this and blah, 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 blah," but, like, the moment, like, you lose and that comes like, what would you say is the best way to prevent that if someone, like, has that high expectation of the fame and the notoriety and all this other stuff that was mentioned in a said interview?
The problem with that is you do have to remember that, you are going in and it is a competition, but I don't look at it as a competition against everybody else that's there. I'm really looking at it as a competition with myself. Like, what can I do to make myself better? What's a new technique that I want to learn, that I want to try and I want to get better at? And then, you go and you get feedback and you learn from other crafters how to build yourself up. It's an individual sport. It's, really not something where you're competing against everybody else because you never know what someone else is going to bring and you don't know how they're going to be able to craft it. You don't know how you're going to be able to craft it because a lot of times things happen. I will be the first to say that things definitely happen. You can't, everything isn't going to be perfect every time. New techniques that you try, sometimes they're not going to be perfect the first time. It's a very difficult thing for me to get over because I do try a lot of new things and they don't always go very well. Sometimes they crash and burn really hard. And you can go in and you can be mad at yourself because you didn't win against somebody else who maybe you think didn't have something as big as you or they didn't try that technique. Um, but it gets really complicated when you start to look at it and you go through the different levels of competition and you have to kind of gauge like why are you there? Are you just there for the money? Are you just there? Because I can tell you, if you're just there for the money, you will never make back all the money you spend on cosplay with awards that they offer.
Oh. Oh, yeah,
I
no, I mean,
never.
yeah,
I
because like,
mean,
the
you
the
you'd
the
have.
awards are like you got the very nice looking trophies, which
Mhm.
I've heard stories of where the glass trophies where, like, some people will leave or and the next thing you know, like, it's dropped and the whole glass thing
It
the
falls
whole glass
apart.
trophy shatters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's definitely that's definitely a thing. Like, I mean, you'd have to win Level Up's competition, which they have a very large cash prize, like 20 times over in your life to earn back all of the time and money that you spend on cosplay. If you go in to compete, the passion really needs to be for the performance or for the craft itself. If that's not why you're there, because you you know you have to enjoy it. That it has to be your fun time. You gotta you know eat, drink, bleed crafting and performance because you sacrifice your body, you sacrifice most of your money, you sacrifice most of your time, um, and if you don't love it and you're only there for, a trophy or to post on Insta, hey, I'm this winner, um, it isn't going to be worth it because once you move up through the ranks, especially once you get to masters or to a level where you're competing at like international or crown, Um, you will not win every time. You just won't. It's impossible. You just can't, because you're competing against so many other people, and like I said, you don't know what they're going to bring. You don't know what details they did. You don't know if they've spent the last 4 years hand weaving every piece of fabric that they've used, or if they sheared their own sheep to use wool to make their own fabric, or if they're that person that, has access to a forge and they were a blacksmith and made their own armor. You don't know that. You can't possibly know that. But what you can know is whether or not you put everything you had into what you made and whether or not you love it. And if you love it and if you're happy with what you made and you walk across that stage or do your performance with that level of passion, people are going to see it. You're going to see it. Everybody in the green room is going to scream their head off for you while you're doing this performance or this walk on with poses. And you're going to have that memory of, you did it. Whether or not you were hot gluing in the hotel, 10 minutes ago, you still made it onto that stage. You completed your project. You did something that you had passion for and you finished it. And that in itself, being able to say that you made something or you did a performance, you practiced and you performed and you got up there and you did it. That's what you have to take from it is, that passion and that reward. Not, it's not about the trophy, it's not about the money. It's about the action of it. And if you love that action and if it gives you, joy in your life. Marie Kondo, does it spark joy? If it doesn't spark joy, don't do it. But if it does, it's going to cost you a lot of time, money, and energy. But, it's what we do.
It's definitely worth it. I mean, a good chunk of the time, the reason why, from what I've seen, why a cosplayer wants to enter in a cosplay contest is to show off their hard work. They like, hey,
Mhm.
look what I made. Look the time and effort I put into something. I want to show everybody. Like, yeah, you're showing it on Instagram to people who you may not know, but showing it
Mhm.
in person, I feel has showing it in person has a really major impact. Like you're showing it to like actual people, not just people on the
Yeah.
internet. You're showing it to like, hey, you may have seen this, but I want to show you what it looks like to be me to actually see it.
Mhm. Like, it's on your body, or it's a performance that you're doing, like, right there. It's the action of it, the physical action of the performance or the action of, walking out and wearing it, and even if you're not the one who wants to wear it, even if it's on somebody else, it's that action of the thing, having the thing and doing the thing. Because it doesn't matter. I know one of the big points was, no one's going to see it because no one goes to the competitions, or if you don't have the followers, it doesn't matter. But I don't have followers. I have very few followers, and I'm okay with that. Um, I like going to the cons, and I was in Tinkerbell at, was it Rose last year? It was either Rose or Kumo last year, and I was walking through the vendor hall, and this young girl, she was just following me, and she was crying because she loved Tinkerbell was her favorite character. And I got to stop her, and I realized she was following me and she did want to talk to me. And I got to speak to her and pretend to be Tinkerbell and have my bells ring for her. And I gave her one of my hand stamped bracelets with the names of the Lost Boys. I gave one of those to her, so she could have that and have a memory of Tinkerbell. And you're not gonna get that kind of interaction, making somebody's con, um, by just being behind the Instagram square, or filming a couple TikToks. You're actually interacting with people, and you're sharing an experience. And sharing experiences, people, especially after 2020, and everything, and not being able to share experiences with people. I personally think that it's even more important now, because now even less people go out and experience things, because we realized we could just be a homebody and stay in our home forever. I rarely ever leave this shop, but when I do get out there, it is it's great to be a part of everything, to see other people interacting that way and having these great fun moments that become memories. And I'll be that weird old lady in the nursing home with blue hair talking about how I heard um the Alucard monologue in a car park, by the voice actor. And that memory, and the people I was there with, that's going to stick with me forever, versus just seeing a picture on Instagram or, one TikTok.
Yeah, no, I can't. I have no words, and I can't really argue with any of that. I've never competed at all. I mean, I've hosted some small cosplay contests, and I've seen it in person, like seen it online. It's great. I mean, it's seeing the progress they've done, seeing them in the cosplays is great. But then something about seeing it in person,
Hmm.
how? And I'm the kind of person that, and I always ask, of course, because I once helped judge a teens and kids cosplay contest. I'm like, can I touch? Because or when I'm interviewing in person at cons, I always ask, can I touch your cosplay? I just it's
Hmm.
amazing. It's like the fact that you did all this or made all these wings with whatever material this is, or you made this weapon or staff or something. I gotta commend,
Hmm.
and from experience seeing these amazing cosplays in person, and getting to talk about it, or touch their proper part of their cosplay. I'm like, you
Because
know
seeing it up close, seeing the different textures and seeing the sparkle of the rhinestones, or you can't, from an Instagram picture, you can't tell that Tinkerbell has bells, but when I twirled on stage, people could hear the bells. There are some people that put scents on their cosplay. There is this girl that did a Psyche's album, the one that had strawberries all over it at Hallmat, and when they walked out onto the stage and they twirled, it smelt of strawberries. So the entire room just filled with strawberry scent as they came out and did their poses and everything. And that was an experience. They got to give the audience experience. We got to, to have that. That was like a Disney World thing, putting scents
that is
into the air for extra memories and everything. And yeah, getting to go up to people and just say, can I see that? Because you really can't do that. I mean, you can get a closer picture online, but seeing their excitement at the time and how they want to show you, and just seeing everything all together in one complete package is just, it's exciting. And some people may not like it, it might not be their thing, and that's totally okay. It doesn't have to be everybody's thing. There are countless ways to cosplay, countless ways to be, a geeky influencer. You do not have to compete in competitions. But, if you want to, don't let anybody, deter you from it just because it's not a great way to get followers. If you enjoy it, do it. The, our world is so dark and bleak, and things are getting more depressing all the time. If you find something that gives you any serotonin at all, do it. It's worth it to do that and to have something that you enjoy, despite whether or not it's going to give you clout or money or recognition in the end. Because if something makes you happy, that's what's important.
Oh no, I can't argue with that. Now onto um conventions. We're gonna talk. I want to talk about how many conventions have you gone to total since 2006? Or what's been, like, your favorite one, I should say, out of all the ones you've been to the past 20 years?
Oh gosh, all the ones I've been to.
I mean, or I
I
should
have
say,
been
what
to
is, like what's been, like sorry, go ahead.
I have been to a lot of conventions. I've probably been to maybe up to 50 at this point in time. Yeah, I see your face.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, it's
I gotta commend those who can go to a convention every year. I'm like, if you have the time and money, good for you. I limit myself to 4, maybe 5 pending.
yeah, well, I mean, I wear my cosplays over and over again a lot. So I don't have a whole bunch of them because it does take me time to make them, time to save up the money to be able to make them, things like that. So I don't go and have 8 cosplays like a lot of the very youthful, brave young cosplayers that I see out there today. More power to them. I don't know how they do it. I do not have the spoons. But I mean, you gotta share hotel rooms with other people. Um, if I'm wearing a cosplay, this is I don't recommend this. I don't really eat, so I save money that way because I don't really have like breakfast or lunch. I just kind of have dinner. Um,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
you
I
should eat so you can stay, you know, energized at a con.
well, I'll eat like I eat dinner and sometimes I can eat breakfast. I'm not my body I have a lot of chronic health stuff, so my body doesn't really like eating in the morning. But I do try. And of course I hydrate. I have water.
I was
But
gonna
most of
say,
my
I mean,
cosplays, yeah.
because energy drinks don't count as a source of food. Coming from someone who
No.
drinks energy drinks early in the morning for work, or if I'm gonna be up early to work to work at a con.
Yeah, it's I mean, like I said, I don't recommend it. I definitely recommend people, eat all throughout the day, drink water all throughout the day, use the restroom all throughout the day, take off your cosplay if you're feeling overstimulated. Those are my recommendations. I don't necessarily do that, but that's what I recommend.
And that's some good
Um,
advice for first time con goers
mhm,
or first time cosplayers who are wanting to go to a con.
yeah. I mean, definitely if it's your first time and you're going to a con, you're definitely going to want to wear a comfy cosplay, one that you can, easily go to the bathroom in, or if not, one you're okay with yeeting in the hotel room after half the day, so you can just walk around and, be free for the rest of the time. That is one thing that is challenging about competitions, depending on how they are laid out throughout the weekend. Sometimes, you do have to be in that competition outfit from bright and early in the morning all the way to, 10 o'clock when the costume contest gets out. And that is a expedition right there. It's super tiring. I mean, you're hot, it's heavy. You've probably got horrible shoes. A lot of contests now, though, are doing, and a lot of cons just in general are having like cosplay restrooms. So you can go in there, you can sit down, they'll have water. Sometimes they have little changing booths that so you can go in and like change out of a specific piece if you need to for a little while. Um, and they'll just have tables. They might have their repair stuff in there. Usually they don't. Usually it's just more of like a quiet space, but they could have fans in there. That's definitely something I recommend people bring with them is some kind of fan, whether it's a hand fan or an electric fan. If you have a bag with you, if you have pockets, that's something I would definitely recommend if you're going to be in a wig or in cosplay, even if it's winter. The inside of con centers just gets so hot.
Oh,
And
can
if you
confirm.
and if you're in a purchase cosplay, I can guarantee you that's almost all polyester. And that is going to
Mhm.
be so,
No.
so hot.
Mm.
And with all the layers and stuff, you're gonna want a fan. And
It
I know a lot of people don't want to carry a bag or they don't want to put pockets in to their cosplays because it's not canon. Who cares? Who cares if it's not canon? Like seriously, just bring the bag, because you can always have a friend hold it, or you can set it down on the ground if, someone comes up and wants a picture. Like if you can make a cute little bag or buy one that semi matches your character's vibe, or even if, it's just a regular bag, just carry it, because, you can have your wallet in it, you can have a water bottle, you can have some band-aids, you can have a snack, you can have a fan, and if you absolutely need it, an extra pair of shoes. Or now that I'm old and need to sit down in random places at a con, there's this excellent like pop-up stool that you can get that
I've
like,
seen I've seen those.
yeah,
They're like backpacks. I've seen
mhm,
those.
yeah,
I've
and you
seen
can get
people.
those.
I've seen this one person turn one of them. They like folded out and painted it to look like a mushroom.
Mhm. And bring stuff to be comfortable. And if you really are, if you really don't want the vibe to be ruined, if that is super important to you, it is super important to some people. I get it. You're doing your performance in character cosplay stuff. Have a handler. Have a friend that's with you. Have a responsible friend that's with you, not an
Or
enabler.
as I call them, a convention exit buddy, someone to be with
Yeah.
you when you need.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
A
for
con
those who know,
con parent, con exit buddy, handler, somebody that, will hold the bag.
or if you're like, hey, I
They'll
need
be like,
to.
"Hey, you."
If it's like someone's overstimulated, like, hey, can we
Mhm.
go elsewhere because this whole area is just.
Yeah.
You're already answering
Like
all the. You're already bringing up stuff I was going to ask. I don't. What am I even doing this podcast for? Just kidding.
sorry.
Oh no, 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 no! It helps me, like if they're like when they're talking, like, oh well, I don't have to ask that one. I don't have to ask that one.
Mhm.
Um. Weather. Always, I'm sure you're a firm believer of always checking weather to bring. If you're if people do, it's always good to check the weather whether you're traveling to the con, so
Mhm.
you can prepare yourself for travel back. Um, plan cosplays, or also check if you're driving, check the traffic. Use Google Maps to see if there's any delays or road construction or traffic, so like you can leave a little bit earlier if possible.
Yeah. If you can take public transportation, take public transportation. A lot of times now, especially at the convention centers for like Rose and Kumo, your car's gonna get broken into.
I've heard many stories that people, and
Yeah.
it's not usually not at the end of the convention. It's when people are parked at the Hyatt Regency or the surrounding areas.
Yeah, it's any of the hotels, any of those parking lots around the hotels. Like the Hyatt, the Regency is actually the safest place to be if you're in that parking garage. But if it's like any of the other ones that aren't, specific valet, protected, they get broken into. So if you
Like
can
in a
take public
in at the convention center, I've seen the underground parking, and there's just like no security, no nothing that someone can easily break in.
Mhm. But yeah, it's like, so if you can, parking is absolutely horrible to find. A lot of hotels won't hold your parking either. People will just come in. They also, when there's a big event, they'll actually sell their parking spaces to other people. So if you drive off to go get food or something, you come back, you may not have a place to put your car. So if you can, not everybody can. I can't take public transportation because I have to drive in from like 6 hours away all the time. So it's just, if you can take it because it'll be good in the end. Much cheaper because parking's expensive. Parking's like
Oh,
really
I've heard it can be, especially at the Hyatt Regency, because I've seen I've been inside that multiple times for again working for the con for media,
mhm.
and I'm just like, hey, you're too expensive, but you look lovely, and
Right.
I always love seeing when like the cosplayers have like a little photo shoot going on right by the stairs or something.
Hmm. Gosh, what's something else for a first time con goer? Oh, if they have a physical schedule or physical map of the con, like a little paper pamphlet, take it. Or if they have one that's printed on the wall, take a picture of it. because all of the apps and everything that they're moving to, while it can be convenient, can be, usually there's no internet in convention spaces. No
Kumo,
phone
you have
signal.
to go.
Yeah.
With Kumo, I've learned go near one of the windows near one of the exits,
Yes.
or go
Mhm.
outside because reception is so much better. But when you're inside, if your phone allows it, use the mobile data because then you're not having to use the con's Wi-Fi because everyone and their
Mhm.
mother-in-law is using it, and it's just like no, I agree because like you said, websites aren't also always accurate too because sometimes
Yeah.
websites will miss some things.
And just because
Um,
there's so many people in that same spot all trying to use it at the same time, like, I'll get a text message and then I won't get that message until, like, 2 days later, and it's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I have no idea because the convention's over." Like,
speaking of Kumo, I noticed like where a lot of people tend to hang out at to like for their phones is usually by the escalators.
mhm,
Those stairs right by the escalators is where usually people flock to check their phone to sit and relax to decompress.
yeah. And that's a
Uh,
big thing, decompression. You don't have to go to a panel or a event every moment of the day. Make sure you rest. That is especially for a first con, you're gonna be overstimulated. It's just gonna happen. Make sure you take time out of the day to rest, and not just your body, but like your brain. Close your eyes for
hmm.
a while, don't look at your phone, eat something, drink
or
something,
it,
just
or go back to your hotel to sit for a bit.
mhm, yeah.
um, what was the other thing? What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought already. Oh yeah, budget. Have make sure you have a budget. Or also, now I remember, if financially you can't afford it, you don't have to go to a con. Like, yes, it sucks. You're gonna have to put it off, but there's always next year, or there's a con that's nearby. Like you know, if you're especially if you're living on your own,
Yeah.
from experience, um, you know, if you can't go, that's okay. There's always the next one. There's your local one. I get you want to
Mhm.
go to. I mean, I waited years before I went to Kumo.
Yeah.
I didn't go. I finally went in 2023. I did go in 2024 because of budget. I was able to go again in 2025. This year, I'm going to attempt both Rose City and Con, mainly because job is
Yeah.
I could finance that. I don't have to like, okay, okay, I can go to my local ones and maybe I can go to one that's out of town or out of the state. If I can't, that's fine. I bills, rent,
Always
adult
take
finance
care of
stuff is
yourself
more important.
first. Yeah, always
Don't be
always
like
take
these
care of
people.
yourself first.
I mean, I've heard stories of like where this it was a Reddit post. This gal decided to she had this debit card, this credit card, and she pretty much decided instead of for the important things, she used that to go to a con in Nevada and not even think about it. She didn't even bother paying it off because she spent way more than she should have. She was getting debt collectors and she kept on ignoring it until her parents got calls, and then basically she just had to spend you know a good chunk of her life paying what she spent to go to that con.
Yeah.
That's
I
why you
mean,
budget yourself, and if you can't go, that's okay.
yeah. I mean, there's like for the whole first part of this year, like I've already missed, over half of the con season just because, I did a lot last year and
Mm,
I need to pay some stuff down and work on some stuff that I got to do, here. Sometimes you have to adult.
I know,
And
and
adulting is important because you need things like shelter and food.
no,
And
that is true. I can't
yeah,
really argue with that, and that's why I will never do a con during winter. It's not that I don't wanna go to a con during the winter, it's just I don't wanna potentially go, and then next thing I know, "Oh, yeah, your flight or your bus is delayed, so now you're snowed in,"
yeah,
Because I already dealt with getting stuck in Portland last year. because of delays and cancellations. I mean, luckily, thankfully, thanks to some family and a great group of friends, I was able to get back. Not the time
Mhm.
I was hoping to, but I was able to get back the same day of.
Yeah. And I mean, and
And
there's always, and now a lot of times, people are gonna post, recordings of, you have a friend in the lip sync that you really want to support. Someone's gonna film that and they're gonna put the lip sync on and you're gonna be able to watch it. You'll be able to see it, you'll be able to support them that way. Sometimes there are live streams. So if there's a really big competition, that you want to watch your friend in, you want to go support them, can't afford it, watch the live stream. Have a watch party at home. That's a more than valid way to support people. Or if you really want to go and do this competition, but you can't do it this year, then you have a whole extra year to work on the crafting and to work on saving up for, and getting that, or to work on your choreography or your backdrop. You have time to work on it. Just because, we see a lot of cosplayers, a lot of performers, and a lot of influencers going out there, and they'll be at almost every con, that's advertised. And some of them are, they're getting their hotel rooms comped because they're guesting or something like that. And even then, sometimes they'll get a food stipend with that or whatnot. But a lot of them are just spending, all this money on that. And if they have that money, that's okay, and that's fine. You're an adult, you have adult money, spend it on what you want. But you don't have to go out and do every con just because you see everybody else doing it.
oh
Like
no,
I've been to a whole bunch of cons, yes. But that's pretty much, I don't spend money on a lot of other things. I pretty much spend money on going to conventions and cons. I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't have a lot of things that I can go do. That's fun for me. So I'll save up, and you share hotel rooms. Um, there's there's two. You get a hotel room with two beds, two person to a bed. Yeah, if you're cosplayers, stuff's gonna get a little tight, but you
I
can
mean, I've
still
seen
get
how
some
messy
good.
hotel rooms can get with cosplays out on the floor, wigs,
Mhm.
makeup, a bowl of ramen, like, right on top of, like, the TV or something, like
Yeah,
like, the old hotel housekeeper in me is like, "Ah!" But then it's like, "Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen."
yeah,
As long as you clean up after yourself when you check out,
yes.
you
And if
know,
you
so
oh,
that's
go ahead,
go ahead,
sorry.
sorry. Oh, no, that's
Well,
all. Just clean up after it when
mhm,
if you're, like, bringing a bunch of cosplays, your wigs, your makeup, and everything, please clean up after yourselves
yes.
after you check out, c as a former hotel housekeeper,
Mhm. Clean up your
I've
makeup
seen,
from the sink, like, clean up, if you have soda towers, clean up your soda towers. If you
or if you're
have
gonna
a
dye
whole
your
bunch of
hair.
DoorDash. Yeah, do not dye your hair in the con hotel room, please,
I mean,
just don't.
if you do, bring your own towel and don't use a hotel towel, and bring makeup wipes. Don't use the I mean, yes, people are gonna do it anyway, but
A lot of times
sometimes
hotels now for makeup, they actually have a makeup cloth, like an actual,
oh,
like,
yeah, no.
for wiping your face, yeah. Um, so
But it
use
sucks
that,
when you have
not the regular one.
it sucks if if you're covered head to toe in body paint, you have to use the shower.
Yes, no, like, if you can, like,
Uh,
if you've done any crafting in the hotel room, make sure that you don't damage it. Make sure that you clean up after yourself. If you DoorDash, make sure that if you're not taking it out every day, stack it and organize it. Organize your trash in a reasonable manner. If you did leave it a mess and you cannot clean it up, please leave a tip for your cleaning person.
oh. Alright, no, I
Leave,
mean,
leave.
force a habit, I always strip the beds and put all the trash in one bag and everything, and if they have an on-site dumpster, even better.
Mhm. Yeah, a
I
lot
think
of
that's
times now, especially the ones in Portland, they have them locked so you can't get into them.
yeah,
But yeah,
I mean,
just make sure it's organized.
and if you're like me who goes to the Hyatt who stayed at the inn at the convention center last year and you're like you're hungry, but you don't wanna, like, like put something in the microwave, just go to one of the vending machines. Yeah, it's going to cost you, but it's like it's worth it, especially if you need something real quick and you want to get back to the con.
Hmm.
Which reminds me, I got to make sure I get food while I'm in Portland for Rose and Kubo this year.
Oh, I think you mentioned in at the convention center. If you're staying at a hotel that is unsafe to you at the time or unclean, do not hesitate to let them know. If you cannot, try and get your refund. If you cannot get a refund, try and get into a different hotel. You do not have to stay there if it is unsanitary or unsafe.
I mean, I had no issues in 20 last year, but again, everyone's experience is different. Even like your fancy 5-star hotels are going to have some type of issue.
Well, there were a lot. There were a lot of issues last year in general with hotels. Um, there were a lot of people that had. There was like things like blood all over a
Or
wall
and
and things like
I had
that.
some
So,
friends who experienced their hotel room had flooded
hmm,
and some stuff got ruined.
yeah, like there are lots of different things. A lot of people will just, and it's not just that specific hotel that I was talking about. There are a lot of hotels where if something does go wrong, you are allowed to complain. Make sure it is something that is actually incorrect and or wrong or unsafe. But you are allowed to do that, and you can go somewhere else or ask a friend if you can stay in their
I
hotel room.
Or sometimes you can stay at a friend's house. I did that
Hmm.
my first Kumo in 2023. I stayed with a friend who was like on the outskirts of Portland, but still in Portland. And I stayed at their place, took the Max line to and from. Well, took an Uber to the Max line and then the Max line to Portland because I wasn't going to
Yeah.
spend $40 from there to go from where I was staying at all the way to like the main part of Portland because that was like a 30-minute drive. I'm like, no, we'll just take the Max line. We just have to leave early and get there around like 10.
Yeah.
Or you're someone like me. As soon as you get into town and Thursday hits, you're pretty much you're pretty much at the con the whole day of day zero.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I've
And
done that too.
if you're if you're not cosplaying or you're not in like a cosplay that prohibits like say public transportation or a car like my cosplays, then then staying in like an Airbnb that's like just right outside of like the hotels or convention centers, that can often be cheaper and there can be more rooms so you can invite more people and you can split it and it actually becomes cheaper in the end. Plus you can make your own
You just
food.
gotta you also gotta be sure to follow the Airbnb rules because sometimes Airbnb rules are just so weird. Like
Yeah.
no showers at this time, or you got to be quiet. I mean, that's a general rule, but like,
Hmm.
don't use the shower at this time, or you got to be back here at a certain time because the doors are locked or whatever.
And I think rules and common courtesy is definitely something that's changed at conventions, especially after 2020, because people don't know how to con anymore. They
Mm-mm.
don't know like flow of traffic. That like if one side of the hall is going one way and one's going the other way, stay in the flow of traffic. Don't
I
just
No, I feel like social media, especially TikTok, a lot of people were introduced to cosplays because
Mhm.
some of the cosplayers you see now were originally introduced to cosplay through TikTok, so they think, oh, that's what it's like. And the moment they go to a con, it's like, no, that's not what it's like.
Yeah.
That's why like TikTok is like a double-edged sword when it comes to
Mhm.
the cosplay community because yeah, it introduced a lot of people to cosplay during the pandemic, but then because half those people who were introduced to cosplays have either never cosplayed or
Mhm.
they were too young, and then as soon as they got older they went to cons and like, oh, this is not what it's like. Yeah, it's not. And like you
Yeah.
said, YouTube's your best friend for convention showcases. Gotta give a little shout out to that segment I do. Cosplay vlogs,
Mhm.
convention vlogs, convention walkthroughs, convention interviews. Like, if you
Yeah.
want at least a better idea, watch those.
Yeah. Because I mean, people will, they'll go in and they'll see panels and they don't necessarily know, how to behave or how to interact with panelists anymore. Or, they'll go in and they don't understand that this is a line. There are people that manage lines. You need to listen to the person managing the line.
Don't get me
Just
started. Don't get me started on the on the media on the registration line. Oh god, that I didn't 2023. I like how it's just a straight separate lines to get like your badge for your booth or vendor or for press. But then last year they did like this snake maze to
mhm.
get like your badge for your booth, the vendor, or press. And like I'm just tempted just to cut that and just, but I don't because you got to follow the rules. But like, there's no one else at the line, and it was stupid.
Well, and people
Ugh.
think that, these problems with reg lines are new and just terrible, and they're not. Back, to when I was going to cons in 2006, 2007, 2008, I was standing in line for hours and hours and hours on day 0 at Anime Expo to get my badge. You know, it's 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 a long process. A lot of these people at a lot of cons are volunteers, especially the people that end up working registration. And it's a slow process. People have to hand out their IDs sometimes, so they have to dig through and find it. It's not just the people working the con, it's the people in the line with you. But you're all there together. You're all human beings. Like, just go with the flow. just just be in the line because you have to be in the line.
Oh,
there, there's
I've been
no
I was
alternative.
oh no, it's SAC Anime 2019. Me and my sister, she was like 6 months pregnant at the time. We were in like because it was a free autograph site that if you brought something with
Mhm,
you, you can get signed for free. And this one actor, very well known in like video games, great talented voice actor. Um, we were in his line for almost 2 hours because people were either bringing so much stuff to get signed for obvious reasons. I think
mhm.
if you're bringing that much stuff to get signed, you can
Yeah.
off. Um, and yeah, we finally got to his line, and it's like his line was still long. Again, free autograph side. There's like the paid ones, and then there was the other side where, like, again, like you said, if you bring something,
Mhm.
you can sign for free. Anything else, or if they had like a print at their table, you had to pay like a small fee, but still, I'm familiar with. And I got to give a shout out to my sister, who again was 6 months pregnant at the time with her first
Oh,
kid, and she stuck it out really well. I mean, we made
mhm,
$40 that day because this one guy had to go to a panel, and so he's like, "Hey, I gotta go. If I give you $20, can you get this thing signed for my friend since you don't have nothing?"
mhm.
So we got $20, and then as soon as we left the convention, I think it was like what, day two, we were headed back to the car, and a $20 bill flew right in front of us. So it was like, $40, let's go to Denny's. It was worth it. Like, I'm glad it was worth waiting in that line, not only because were able to get an autograph and I got to meet one of my favorite voice actors, but we also made $20.
Yeah. Well, and like the thing with like autographs is people get, really angry, because guests will, they won't be there at the assigned time, or they paid to be there to get an autograph between this time and this time, but they go there, they get in line, and they're there for hours. And that's again something where you have to assume that, you want an autograph, something's gonna go wrong. If there's an autograph you really, really, really want, I don't recommend cosplaying that day unless you really want to cosplay in the character that, it's the voice actor or the actor for. I get that. That's fair. But you're gonna be standing on a concrete floor very, very close quarters with people. Like closer than normal. They really pack you
Mhm.
in there when it's for the autographs.
Yeah,
And
that's the
from
cons.
Mhm,
That's the show. That's like the cons fault. Not the building, but the people
yeah,
that are running the autographs. They're
mhm.
the ones that are like overbooking. And
They they
next thing you
overbook.
know, like or especially with photo ops, like, okay,
Mhm.
next, smile, do it. All right, next. Like, and
Mhm.
then like you see the long line because people are spending hundreds of dollars, and I get they want to go and talk real fast, but like there are some actors that are there because they're paid to be there, and there are some
Yeah,
actors that go because they love the
they enjoy it.
fans.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. So next question, because I want to get to the talk about cosplay, so that's like the one main staple of this channel. Um, Cons that you plan on going to this year, and what is an all-time dream con you want to go to?
So for dream cons, probably definitely I want to go to an international con. I've never been to an international con. That's my current goal, to either get there through competing, or to save up to get to one. Either one in Europe, or one in Japan or China. Which, I mean, definitely goals. I don't know if I can ever afford that with the flights and how much it would cost to get my baggage and cosplays there. But it's definitely a goal. It would be much easier if it was paid for, if I won an international competition, but that's that'll be definitely some years in the making, I think, as I gather more experience. Um, but definitely the plan is to get into Hallmat and ALA. I want to compete in their contests. Those are juried. So me and my partners for those will have to submit portfolios and the costume and the skits that we plan to do. And then juries will go through them, look at everything that everyone has submitted, look at the quality, look at variety for the shows, and then they'll choose who gets in. I may still go if I don't get in, uh, but we'll see. Because I do enjoy Holomat, and Holomat's in Florida. Don't necessarily love Florida,
I
but
mean,
I
no
do,
one really loves Florida. I mean, if I'm going to be honest,
yeah.
even people who live in Florida don't love Florida.
But I do like the con itself. The con itself is really fun, and they have a really fun thing. If you're 18 plus, they have a fun thing called the hottest men in anime. And if you've ever been to like an 18 plus lip sync or something, it's like that on crack.
I mean,
And
my favorite hottest man in anime. Well, I got two. After I've never watched JJK, but Nanami.
Gojo.
Yeah, Nanami from Jujutsu Kaisen,
Mhm.
Piccolo, even despite he's an alien.
He
uh,
counts.
I mean, now if you have to ask me my favorite female ones, I have two. Android 18 from Dragon Ball and Your Forger from Spy Family. I have no shame.
You're fine. Everybody is welcome to have their own waifus and husbandos. Everybody has a hear me out.
Oh,
Everybody has their own preferences, and that is absolutely fine. But yeah,
who's
those. I
if
mean,
you don't mind me asking, who's your favorite anime waifu and husbando?
oh gosh. See, now I gotta think. That was not a question I was anticipating, and I'm
I have
bad with.
those curveball I have those curveball questions, and as anyone knows, on this channel, we like to incorporate different series into different other
Mhm.
episodes. Like at this point, it's all just one thing where I bring stuff from Geeking Out or Game of When Friends to one, or vice versa. I like to kind of I mean, hell, we just like for the past couple of years, we're now bringing in food into these episodes.
Let's see. Sorry, my son was trying to come in here. I'm like, nope, not right now. Out. Don't worry, he's fully grown. He can go out. Um, let's see. I do like your. I also like your. But I think have you ever seen Strawberry Panic?
I have heard of it. I don't think I've
It's
ever
it's really
watched it.
old. It's it's a really old lesbian anime. And I like Shizuma from that. So that would be one of the waifus. Let's see. I've always liked.
Oh my god! Is this the one with like you can tell me if I'm wrong. Because yeah, no, I know which one. I saw this years. I was like introduced this on YouTube because I had a friend who was into Yuri,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, you should check out like top 5 Yuris." And yeah, this is on Tubi because I watched the first episode because I went down a rabbit hole of fan servicey anime, and this was one of them, along with Rio Rainbow Gate and Maids versus Butlers.
Mhm.
Oh, this is the
Yep. And of course,
yeah.
it's the white, silver-haired, slightly standoffish. It's like I have a type. I know that. Um, it's very common. And then, let's see. I really like Alucard from Helsing.
I mean, a lot of people do.
Yeah, I will always love him. See, there are others, but
Yeah, when you mentioned Strawberry, what is that? I know it now. I've seen it. Uh, oh, there's another version of Strawberry Panic, or is that? Oh, Strawberry Panic 2. Okay, I've never heard of that one. Now on to the cosplay stuff. We already talked about some cosplay stuff already. You actually fully mentioned it. So now we'll get to my other part, the cosplays you have done over the years. What's that one cosplay you've not done in so long that you would love to bring back?
oh gosh, I really miss my Ponyo. Um, Ponyo was super fun. It was Hannah Alexander's design. It was super easy to wear. I didn't have to have a corset on for it. It had flat shoes. It didn't have a whole bunch of really heavy shit. It was just a really light, fun, twirly thing that I could just walk around in, and it was super comfortable. And I could walk around yelling "ham," and it would be nice to bring that one back. It doesn't fit anymore, so I'd have to remake it. But
Definitely an underrated Studio Ghibli movie, honestly.
mhm,
Doesn't get talked about enough, in my personal opinion.
yeah, it's super beautiful animation.
Oh yeah.
All the fish,
Uh, it's such a beautiful. I mean, you got also Betty White's voicing one of the old ladies in it too.
right?
Yeah, rest in peace, rest in peace to that queen. Um, let's see. What's a cosplay that I call them one and done's? Basically, it's a cosplay that you wanted to try because you were always curious about it, or you got a friend group wanted a friend group wanted to do a group cosplay, and they wanted you to be a play character that you probably knew nothing about, but you're like, just for that one time, you did
Mm.
it, and it's never seen the light of day ever again.
Oh God, what is that? Uh,
I also call
that's
them vaulted
probably
cosplays.
it's. I don't think I have a picture of it anymore. It was way back in the day, and it was my Gaia Online avatar. Uh,
I'm not laughing at the at your cosplay. It's that name. Oh God, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
yeah, I know.
I was part of Gaia Online, Mies, IMVU, the good old online avatar chat webs. Oh God, those are not meant for.
I was at their first ever panel. And their first ever panel was at Anime Expo.
Ooh-wee.
And I
Ooh.
was me and
Oh.
my ex were the first in line. So we got to say hi to like Lanzer and everybody because they came out to say hi to people right at the front of the
Oh
line. And
God,
I'm pretty
that.
sure that was part of the reasons why they stopped at least at Anime Expo stopped allowing people to throw things, panelists to throw things into the audience like prizes, because they were throwing out grunnies, like those tiny little plushes that were the
Mm-hmm.
green zombie rabbits,
Yeah,
and
I
they were just
remember.
throwing them
Oh
out into the
God.
audience, and
Oh,
people were tackling each other to the floor.
That just made me have a senior moment. Oh God. My alive guy had that name. I had a guy online account in middle school, and I stopped using it back in high school. Oh, okay. I'm breathing. I'm alive. Oh, that name. Whew,
Sorry.
yeah, guy online, me's, IMVU. Whew, yeah, those are, oh boy, those were not meant for teens and middle schoolers. Ooh, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean that doesn't surprise me that I've heard stories of like that happening and people literally getting into fistfights just because it's a plushie from their favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
It got violent.
oh, I believe it. It's
Mm.
scary to hear these con stories that people literally getting into physical altercations. You one moment you're walking on a con floor. Next thing you know, you see Sailor Moon and someone like Light Yagami getting into a fist fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, handcuffs is another thing, and leashes you don't see anymore at cons. Thank fucking god.
Yeah, that's a consent issue right there.
Or that, oh, pay me $5 and I can step on you, or I can smack you, or I can spit on you. No,
People
because here's the
people
thing.
still make signs,
Here
but
here
they get
here
taken away.
here's the thing. And I'm glad they get those signs taken away. I've
Yeah.
like there is reason why you shouldn't be doing that, because if you don't film it, to where they give the whole consent thing, someone can easily say they came and slapped me, and here's the mark to prove it. Next thing you know, you're gonna
Uh-huh.
get kicked out of a con because you did something entirely stupid. I mean, I think you're stupid anyway to have someone smack you and degrade you at a con, but my personal opinion. You've watched too much fan service anime.
Yes.
You've you've watched too much Rosary Vampire.
And it's like, and you know what? To each their own. You like that?
um
That's great. It's not for
yeah,
a
just
public space where there are children and,
shit.
people who just don't wanna experience things like that because, they have their own stuff going
Oh,
on.
it's worse.
Like
It's worse when they do it it's worse than they do it at a family friendly convention. I mean, they do
mhm,
have 18 plus conventions,
yeah,
events now, like Waifu Expo and all that stuff, and like Cosplay After Dark, because there are some comps that are implementing for just 18 plus, which
mhm.
it's good, because sometimes then you got people who will get into more risque cosplays because you're cosplaying. There are some who do that during the day
Well, I mean,
at family,
that's
but
an
then
issue even when you're not in something extremely risque, like the 18 plus thing. Because I mean, I'm a grown ass woman, and there are young teenage boys. Like if I'm wearing a corset, and they'll come over and their friend will say something, and one of them is just like staring. It's like, dude, my eyes are up here, like, and
do you
it's a
want to get some?
child, you know.
Do you
It's
want
it's a child.
do you want Tinkerbell to bitch slap you? Because that's how you get bitch
Like
slapped by Tinkerbell.
I'm like, guys, like you need to stop. Like this is like I would get in
Oh,
trouble for this. Like please walk away.
where are your parents?
Yeah,
I've noticed
right.
an influx. I've noticed an influx because they're 14, 15, 16. Their parents are going to drop them off with their group of friends and
Hmm.
everything. I'm like, have a parent or guardian with them. Yes, they may be a teenager, but it's still like wise to, and also keep an eye on your kids. This isn't Disneyland where you know, like I am a firm believer of like just keep an eye on your kids. I get it, you want to go out and have fun too with your other kids, but like keep an eye on your kids when no one's getting paid to babysit. If your kid gets lost, that is your own damn fault.
Yeah, I mean, cons are well, a lot of cons are family, family friendly. That the word is friendly and the convention itself is. That doesn't mean that the con goers necessarily are. So,
Mm.
you really have to, if you are going to a family friendly convention, please keep it family friendly. If you see young kids and stuff around you, please don't be doing weird shit or bad shit. Just
Mm.
try and contain yourself for a fraction if it is a family friendly con. Um, but yeah, you know, parents keep an eye on your kids. Yes, teenagers can go out and do stuff on their own, but not all cons, even if it says family friendly, are family friendly. There's a lot of stuff that
Well,
happens at cons, and they can
especially
be
the
super.
especially the after hour stuff when they have like the 18
Yes.
plus events, or even most cons they don't do 18 plus, they do 21 and over because there's gonna be
Hmm.
alcohol.
Yeah,
Now
and
18 plus doesn't necessarily mean, you know, in that sense sometimes it's because, or 21 and over, it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, you still have to have some form of decorum. It usually means because there's
yeah,
gonna be alcohol served.
yeah. There'll be alcohol served, or there's a certain number of cuss words, or there might be certain topics or whatnot that's discussed or something like that.
Very explicit things,
Mhm.
or sometimes you got some people who will come back and not at like not full reveal, but slightly revealing where their ass is more
Mhm.
shown or
Yeah,
whatever. I'm not judging. Just if you're going to be going to, if you're 18 or over and you're going to be an 18 and over event at a con, please be mindful, please be respectful, and also please
yeah,
be safe and stay safe.
yes.
It's a mantra. It's a thing I say every time. Um,
Go with a friend. Go
that
with a
too.
friend. Have somebody that be responsible for somebody else, and have somebody be responsible for you.
100%. Now, what's that one cosplay you've not done? Oh, no, I already asked that one. What's been your all-time favorite cosplays? I call them comfort cosplays. It's a cosplay no matter how many times you do it, no matter what the event is, you want to try to do it.
I can't bring him all the time, but I would definitely say Waluigi. My heart to go Waluigi.
Eh.
I never thought I would do him, and I kind of got it was a group thing that I did get roped into.
Was
Kind
it
of like
Kumo
you'd be.
2023?
I think so. Yeah,
I remember
the
seeing
one
a
with
bunch
all
of
the different Waluigis.
Yep, Kumo 2023.
Yeah.
I've seen video of that. I've
Mhm.
seen members of the Soccer Rangers also be part of it too. The Waluigi group. I freaking love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was it it was super amusing. But it's really fun to wear, and I can be it's not a serious character, so I can, be kooky in it. And he's, kind of a villain, so I can, do I can act a little differently than if I'm in, one of my prim, like corseted gown type cosplays. I can be a gremlin, and that gremlin energy sometimes is just really fun. And having a crazy mustache is always great.
oh, I can highly confirm. Speaking of, because you've worn heels and corsets, what kind of advice would you want to give to someone where they, be man or woman? Because we don't discriminate on here.
Yeah.
What advice would you want to give if someone wants to wear heels or corset or any type of like dress?
So if you're doing heels, because I mean that's definitely going to be most anime characters now are in some form of heels, even if they're like some medieval warrior. It's crazy. If you're doing heels, you're gonna want to make sure that they fit. Get good shoes. Like if you're gonna splurge on anything for your cosplay, get a couple of pairs. Get a good pair of flats, a good pair of heels, in different sizes, and then you can make shoe covers for those to go over them. So you're going to have a pair of shoes that fit you, that you're semi comfortable in, that you have inserts that already go in, and you can make covers that go over them. And it they'll already be broken in because you'll be wearing them over and over. But make sure you break them in first. Don't just go to a con and wear shoes for the first time, because you will be hating yourself by hour two. All con centers are either outside or cement floors, or there's no padding in between the carpet and the cement floor. And doesn't matter what age you are, after a couple hours, those shoes will hurt. And if you wear those heels that first day, you're gonna eat your feet off, and then you're gonna have bandages all
Oh,
over your feet the next day, and that's even worse.
I mean,
Yeah, make sure you have comfortable shoes. Now, if you're in a competition piece, if you are competing, if you've made your shoes, or if they're just particularly unwieldy, if they're higher than normal, bring shoes that you can change into. Yes, you might say, well, I can't put shoes on while in that cosplay. That is why you have friends or a handler. Someone in that green room for that cosplay competition will help you get your shoes on, or they will have a handler that will help you if you do not have one. That's part of that community. We will help you get your shoes on. If something falls off, we will help you put it back on. That is what we do.
Oh no,
uh,
I concur. Someone who should be wearing boots, someone who should be wearing like medieval style type boots for Geralt in the future, or my Tiefling OC from Baldur's Gate 3. I'm like, I'm gonna put inserts in those bitches. I'm gonna put some
yeah, no,
memory. I'm gonna put some memory. I'm gonna put some memory foam inserts in those bitches because I know from experience wearing boots for a Jedi cosplay is like, yeah, no.
yeah. Get them inserts. They're not just for old people. They're comfy. I promise you. Get get nice inserts. And
If the shoe
yeah, that's definitely
allows it.
yeah, a lot of times the shoes won't allow it, which is why it's important, try it on, figure out what it will allow, or if you can wear like, double socks or, anything like that. But definitely try out your shoes before you go. Don't just show up at con in shoes, especially if it's something like, maybe a gaita sandal or anything like that. Make sure it'll support your body weight. Make sure it wasn't, if you purchased it, make sure it wasn't poorly made and that all the screws are, really supported in there. Because when you're in a cosplay, cosplays are technically, usually they're more restrictive and you're not going to have as much balance because you're going to have a giant wig on. Your peripherals are going to be weird. Wearing a cosplay is a whole sensory thing. So you're not going to be as, able to move as well as you were before. Now, sometimes with performance pieces, you can do that if you're really used to it, it's not as bad. But especially if it's your first time, really keep in mind that your motion, your eyesight, everything is going to, be different. When we get to things like corsets, corsets are not bad for you. It is the technique in wearing the corset and making the corset and how it's laced in how it can be bad for you. So if you know the safety of wearing them, in general, it's not bad. Corsets were made to be supportive garments. They weren't usually made to be super tight laced and to create the smallest waist possible. That wasn't the goal. The goal was always silhouette. So like the kind of the shape that it did make. So while you can see that, the waists are usually smaller, that's more of an illusion. And a lot of time it's created with like extra padding or things like that. If you're trying to be frugal and you're getting a corset off of Amazon or something like that, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I had a lot of corsets that I bought from Amazon. Check and see what kind of boning they put in there. If it's really thin and it just has plastic boning, sometimes those can snap on you and they can stab you inside, and that's
It,
not great.
mm-mm.
You won't want to go if they say like spiral steel. Those have a lot less chance to do that because they're supposed to bend with you. They're made to bend, to curve, to bend over, to do all that stuff. And then you want to do you don't when you're just starting, don't really go for tight lacing. So tight lacing is when you're really trying to, get your waist smaller. You can maybe go for like 1 inch, maybe two, but don't really go for too much more reduction than that, especially if it's your first time, because that might make you uncomfortable. And also, even with just the minor reductions, you're gonna want to do something called like season your corset. So you're gonna want to put it on, tighten it to where you're comfortable, like you can breathe, you can move, and then wear it
Don't be
around for
like
a little
Eliz.
while.
Don't be like Elizabeth Swann in Pirates of the Caribbean, where she,
No,
faints.
yeah.
I mean, she was fainting
Duh.
mainly because how tight the corset was, and because the necklace. But like, don't
Mhm.
you know? Don't do
Yeah,
that.
don't do that. Like you wanna slowly season. It's kinda like, breaking in shoes. You have to break in things like a corset that's supposed to be form fitted to your body. So if you put it on for small periods of time over, different periods, and it'll kind of form itself to your body. and then you get the shape without a lot of the uncomfortable pressing and things like that. And if it's made right, it should fit you well. If you can't afford it, getting a custom made corset, one that's specific to your measurements, or if you have a back issue, so if you have something like scoliosis or any other disabilities where you have something with your body where you need extra support, or one side's longer than the other, a custom corseteer can take that and they can make you something that's actually going to be healthier for you and very supportive. A lot of people use corsets and braces, for devices to help them. So if you get them made correctly, they can be very safe, very supportive, and very helpful. So that's always something that you can do. If you do a lot of gowns and you want to have a corset underneath, I do recommend getting a nice one. Get one that fits, because if you take care of it, and if your size doesn't fluctuate too much, you can use that corset for a really long time, and it's a good investment. So
I
good underpinnings are great investments. Even good hoop skirts, things like that, those will help support all the weight of the fabric that you're going to have on you. And if you're not supporting that, a lot of times you can see people, they have big, they have like stuff they have like indents on their side that are bruises, and sometimes it's even as bad as having a cut on their side because of the weight of all the skirts and everything, and all the petticoats that they had were cutting in. And that's part of why they wore corsets, is because it puts a barrier between your skin and all those waistbands, and the boning helps hold that weight. So that's part of why I do it. It's not just to be skinny. You don't have to have any waist reduction in a corset at all. It can literally just be there to, hold this up, to give you cleavage if you want it, and to be something to hold all that weight so you don't hurt yourself while you're wearing those big ball gowns, because those big ball gowns are very heavy, and it may not feel like it's going to hurt you, but it'll hurt you.
oh, I
So,
imagine
mhm.
I imagine it will. And then I know sometimes, like, I seen this custom one that had like a zipper on the side of it, so you can just easily get in and get
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, there are a lot of times, you don't have to. There are a lot of different ways to lace too. So if you're worried that you can't lace a corset, there are ones that zip up. Like, you can get ones that have good zippers, or you can zip them up and down. There are ones where you can do fan lacing, and it pulls up to where you pull it and you lace it, and you attach it in the front. There are different ways also. I have an issue where I can't lift my arm past a certain way sometimes, so I actually have to have my handler lace up my corsets and stuff for me, which is another reason why it's great to have a handler. Because like ball gowns, things like that, it can take you like an hour to get into them sometimes.
Oh,
Because
jeez.
because there's a lot of different layers. You got to get your corsets on, the underpinnings on, like all that stuff, and that takes a hot second. Especially if you,
I
yeah, it
I
takes some
imagine it
time.
does.
hmm But I mean,
Ooh.
that's a lot of big cosplayers, and not just ball gowns. People that wear, the big mech suits, and they're in stilts and things. People that wear armor. A lot of that stuff is heavy, and they have big harnesses for things like wings. So if you have heavy wings, corsets, a lot of time you can put the wings supports for the wings underneath the corset.
Kinda like your
Um,
Tinkerbell.
yeah, kind of like my Tinkerbell. And then you can also, if you have like a harness, if you have it on over a corset, it'll keep it from digging into your body when whatever that heavy piece that you're holding back is on. So you can use things like that even under big heavy armor or in a mech or something, just to give yourself better support for whatever you're wearing. Because yeah, harnesses, back plates, things like that. And you can find there are a lot of tutorials. I don't have specific ones myself because I don't tend to do a lot of the armor stuff. I'm not great with contact cement. Um, but yeah, look into that stuff. Look into supporting supportive wear, because that's just as important with armor as it is with the ball gown. Even if you have a really heavy long cape, that can really pull on your neck and your back and your shoulders, and walking around in that for hours all day is going to kill you. But if you have a harness underneath that you've attached it to, then instead of it pulling on your neck and your shoulders, you're going to have your whole core holding that up, instead of just those parts. And so it could, just distributes that, and it helps you be able to wear it for longer and to be safer.
Always got to be safe. As I say, be safe, stay safe. Now, what are some cosplays that you are currently working on for this year, this season, and what's a dream cosplay? Like, what cosplays are you planning to do this year, and what's like a cosplay you always wanted to do, but it's just not on the budget, or right now it's not on the skill set?
Yeah. So we'll start first with stuff that I want to do. These are cause plans. Cause plans. Again, the plan never survives first contact with the enemy. I am the enemy. Uh, but I have plans to do a Regency Leafeon, so kind of like a Bridgerton Pokemon vibe. Yeah, I
Ooh.
have the materials for it. I just need to get myself working on it. Um, and then I really want to do Magic Knight Ray Earth is getting a reboot, and they're redoing it. So I'm planning on doing one of the magical girls from that. I'm
Matt, wait,
thinking
what's it called?
Magic Knight Ray Earth. So knight as in like a soldier knight.
Okay, Magic Knight Re-Earth, and who's the
Um,
character?
Ray Earth and Hikaru.
I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna look that up real quick.
Yeah. It,
You got any other future cos plans?
I do. So for um, hopefully I'll be doing an ALA cosplay with
Oh, we're talking about
yeah,
her.
not that one specifically, because that one has the exposed abdomen, and I try and keep my abdomen contained. But there's one
So
it's like a almost like a cupcakey dress. Not that one. It's a. I'll have let me pull it up. I got it on my Pinterest.
are you talking about
Well, they have a whole bunch of outfits because Clamp
like the
was nope, not that one. Uh, Clamp was really popular for doing art books, and they would make a whole bunch of designs for all of their characters. And this was something that I kind of miss that mangakas or animes in general had. So here, let me see. There you go. That one.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
pretty.
and she also has a giant sword too. It would be my first time making a
I may have
weapon
to
like
watch.
that. So,
I may have to watch this now. This definitely looks
well, they're
like
coming out with a reboot of it, so they're redoing it, and it should be out I think
okay.
either this year or next year. But yeah, I
Her
did,
hairstyle reminds me that of Ranma for Ranma one half.
yeah, that was fairly popular style back then, and it's fun. I've never done a wig like that one either, so that'll be fun. I got to
That'll
figure
be
out. I may or may not do it so like the braid moves. I don't know. We'll see.
is
Uh,
there is there one I can suggest? Because I've lately have been like giving suggestions of who I can see someone cosplay as.
yeah.
I can honestly see you. You have you ever played Final Fantasy X?
I've played a lot of the Final Fantasies. I love Final Fantasy, so
I can honestly see you. From just any generic Final Fantasy, I can see you do Aerith from Final Fantasy VII.
I really want to do Aerith, and I actually have a plan in the future to do Aerith, but Aerith as there's an art that's Aerith as Sephiroth, like
I've
in a
seen
Sephiroth design.
I know which one you're talking about. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
so that'll happen eventually when I can afford the leather for the jacket and whatnot. Um, But yeah, definitely that Aerith is on my radar for sure. Um, got another one I'm gonna do. I'm thinking about doing Shoshomaru from Inuyasha because I only just started watching it. I'd never seen it, and I've always liked his design. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go watch it. And I was right. I like him, and I'm I'm gonna have to cosplay as him. That may or may not be one of my competition pieces. It depends on if my partner finds a character that they want to do from it. So,
Nice. Now, what is your all-time dream cosplay? So cosplay you a character you always wanted to do, but just right now it's not in the budget or skill set.
so I want to do a steampunk femme version of Vash the Stampede from the original manga slash anime with a Catholic cross Punisher weapon that's lights up and is steampunk. That is the dream cosplay that I've had for years.
Ooh.
Like a Victor, like the Punisher, but as a Victorian cross that lights up and has like
Ooh.
smoke coming out of it. But
That
I'm
would
not
be
that. I really want to build up my prop and my light skills first, so I can actually do it justice. Because
that honestly would be cool to see though.
yeah, that's
Um
always been my dream.
Now on to the last. Now we're like almost 2 hours into this. Gonna wrap this up here. Now onto my favorite questions. Um, uh, have you ever had? I think you mentioned it. Have you ever had any cosplay mishaps, like a prop broke, shattered, snapped, a cosplay just did not go well for you?
Oh yeah, I've had lots of those. Um, one of the first ones that I had, it was at Anime Expo, and I was wearing these like I don't know, like 6 inch tall go-go boot heels for a magical girl, and
Who?
I broke my toe.
Oh, from
Um,
Madoka Magica.
no, it was Fu from Magic Knight Ray Earth, a different character from that anime I just showed you. Um, but yeah, she
Is that
has the
F? Is that spelled FOO?
FUU, I think, or FOU was it? Let's see. I think it's FUU. F magic. Yeah, FUU.
Okay.
And it was one of the art book designs too. So let's see, not like their normal one. It was their.
Oh,
Let's see.
it's Fu Hyoji.
Yeah, that one.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just pulled. I think I just pulled. I just found the image you're talking about. It's
Hmm. Yep.
ooh, that's pretty. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to add
I
this on
was
my
doing
anime
her,
list.
and my my shoes just caught on something and ended up breaking my toe, and it was great fun being in that until I could get back to the hotel.
Oh, is this the what you're talking about? It's coming out in 2026. This is the
Yeah.
oh, I like how they're kind of keeping the same art style, just make it more smoother.
Yeah, they're just smoothing it out, and so it's like magical girl meets mech meets fantasy isekai. So it's really fun. If you haven't seen a lot of the things that Clamp has done, Clamp was super popular back in the day.
Yeah,
And
it was like by authors Clamp.
hmm
Clamp is an all-female Japanese manga artist group consisting of a leader of Nanase Okawa and three artists who roles shift from each series: Makona Tsubaki, Nikoi, and Satsuki Igarashi. That is the fact there's it's four of them. That's pretty
hmm
cool. All born in Tokyo, and they were founded in 1987. Current is Nanase
Oh,
Okawa,
they're
Makona
founded the year
Tsubaki.
I was born.
Yeah, so apparently there is also formers Okyon, Sei Nano, uh, Tomoyo Akiyama, Lisa Sei, Hishika, Jun Inoue, Kazui Nakamori, and Shinya Omi. Yeah, creating. Okay, nice. Created self-published fan. Oh, Clamp was formed in the mid '80s as a 12-member. Wow, creating Doji. I'm not sure to pronounce that. As if you can look it up on anyone who's listening can will look it up. Self-published fan works and began creating original manga in 1987. Um. Oh. Oh, and by the time the group made its mainstream publishing debut with RG Veda in 1989, it was reduced to 7 members. 3 more members left in 1993, leaving 4 current members of the group. Notable is including X, Magic Knight Ray Earth, Oh, they made Card Captor Sakura
Yep.
and Tsubasa too.
Yeah. And Holic.
Oh, oh yeah. Oh, and oh wow, oh wow. That is just going way back. Chobits.
Hmm.
It's cute. The art style looks cute and everything, but in reality, we both know that's not the case. If you want a good example of something that looks cute, but it's not really, Oh My Goddess is a good example.
Yeah. Oh my goddess. Gunslinger Girl.
Madoka Magica.
Madoka Magica. Yeah. Cute
Ooh.
Death. Clanid.
Oh yeah, Clanid, yeah. Let's see here. Sorry, I like to geek out on here, even though that's a different series, but I don't care at this point. Have you ever had a WTF convention moment aside from the one with the teenager staring at your chest? I call them like WTF moments, like a moment like, did that actually happen? To like, yeah, okay, I need to go, or I'm gonna call security.
Oh, let's see. So we definitely Anime Expo, when they first moved convention centers, they didn't really know where to put their lines or how to manage their lines. So they started
Naturally,
having a lot of people line up outside in like 104 degrees in direct
Ooh.
sunlight on pavement.
Someone who used to live in California. I'm familiar with that triple digit weather.
Yeah. No, it was not great. So they would move lines out there, and then they would have times where they'd have people come out and be like, "Oh, we're sorry, we made a second line inside, and we've already filled the hall." And they
Well,
would
that would have been
dismiss.
nice to know Well, that would have been nice to know 2 episodes ago.
Right, exactly. And there had been people who had been passing out from heat exhaustion, like standing out in this line
And not,
to
I
see
mean,
this panel, and
in
they
the
come out and they're like, "Yeah, sorry." And it's like, I've been here for 4 hours.
oh,
4 hours.
I hate that. It's because it doesn't help that new building, probably also new staff, not knowing what the hell they're doing. They
Mhm.
don't. To quote from
Yeah.
one of my favorite video games, they don't know their ass from their elbow. Um,
Mhm.
and it's like poor management, just poorly ran everything, and of course, probably didn't have a whole lot of staff being moved to a bigger building too.
No.
I
Yeah.
mean, I hate to say this. I give a lot of credit to staff. I mean, we did a podcast panel a while back
Mhm.
about staff before a con. Like it goes both ways. Treat the attendees, treat the staff. If there are staff members that are just being a complete asshole, please go and report it, just so they don't end up staffing next year.
Yeah. But yeah, like I mean, it's always those situations, and a lot of people get really angry at staff, and it's like you do realize that they are the low person on the totem pole. Like, they're the
Mm-hmm.
customer service rep, not the top corporate person.
They
So,
they're
you
they're the
got to
ones
give
that
them.
they're the ones that like find out last minute. So of course,
Mhm.
it's gonna have to be them to be the one to like break it to like, hey, just so you know, this is we have to close the doors because it's max
Mhm.
capacity and stuff like that. Like they don't want to, but,
Yeah.
like, when a good chunk of it is volunteer work where they're not really getting paid except maybe merch and meal tickets or whatever,
Mhm.
you know,
They're just
I
doing
do
what
feel
they're
like
told.
I do personally feel like, uh, staff should be compensated better. I also feel like if you're inviting cosplayer guests, they should be compensated in some way, whether it's their hotel, their travel, their
Yeah.
food, something. Because 'cause you're asking some of these cosplayers who are living clear across the country who, like, it's gonna cost a lot, so you gotta pay for their travel, you gotta pay for the hotel because
Uh-huh.
they're still gonna have to spend quite a bit of money regardless.
Yeah,
So if you can
they're
compensate them in
taking
some way.
PTO, they're working, 12, cons are long. They're working like 12-hour days for you the entire time.
I mean,
Like,
if it's a local con, yeah, they can get there real fast, but if they're having to travel, like, more than a couple hours, compensate them, please.
mhm. God, let's see what else do we have? I know there are other ones. Oh, there was the stampede at Hallmat. Uh, that was
Stampede?
that was scary. Yeah, so everybody was it was that hottest men in anime panel the
Oh,
show that everybody wanted to see, but they
of
didn't
course.
wouldn't tell anybody where the line would be or when they were going to start it. So it was announced, and literally all the people who had been waiting for hours just bum rushed,
Oh
and
god,
it
I'm just
got
picturing that scene
bottlenecked. Yeah,
I'm
there are
just
people
picturing
that
that
had
scene from
fallen
the li
over.
oh god, I'm picturing that scene from The Lion King where all the wildebeest are coming down.
Yeah,
It
the canyon scene, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
I may have to that's a scary thing to see just in general. Is like a big
yeah,
crowd of people just rushing, and people are getting stomped, trampled. Like, I've seen incidences and heard of incidences where, people are bum rushing to get to this thing because they hear about it, and next thing you know, people are getting trampled, people
mhm.
are getting injured, people are literally or and some people can die.
Yeah, it's people don't understand how important crowd management is. Because, like, I mean, once you like, and they tell people, "Hey, squish up, get to there." But when you're bottlenecked and everybody's already squished, like when you're squishing people together, like person to person, like you're causing breathing issues and crushing injuries and a whole bunch of stuff. And people really need to like respect, where the line is, respect the line rules, even
And
if
I
they're
feel bad for
stupid, because
I
it's
feel
for
bad
their
for, like,
own safety.
I feel bad for the volunteer staff too, because 'cause they're the ones who have to go tell them,
Mhm.
so, next thing you know, that was staff could potentially get trampled too.
Yeah, staff gets, potentially trampled and yelled at and having things like thrown at them and a whole bunch of stuff. And it's A, it's not their fault. B, it was, the people in line's fault for running and getting into that situation in the first place. Like crowd mentality is not the smartest. And when you get a
Especially
whole
if you're
bunch
a
of
new
people,
especially if you're, like, if you're a new staff member too, because sometimes you have to get
mhm,
rushed in your training because they're so
yeah,
understaffed.
or there's no training at all. They're like,
Oh, there's no
you know
training
how
at
to manage a line, right? Go for it.
and it's just sink or swim at that point. Um,
Mhm.
that's just scary though, just hearing that
Yeah.
that's never fun. Um Have you ever had any fun convention moments? Like, it was the coolest thing that ever happened at a con, and it's still the best thing to this day.
I will still say the best thing to this day was, meeting Crispin Freeman in a parking garage and just having him talk with
Isn't that
us.
Alucard's voice actor?
It's Alucard's voice actor, and we asked him, and I'm like, "Hey, I know you probably get asked this all the time, like, you're probably sick and tired of it, but, like, we love it, like, we love this scene. Could you do Alucard's monologue, like, the opening monologue from the original Hellsing?" And he was so happy. He just beamed and he was like, "I got you." And he
Ah,
performed live the Alucard monologue for us right there in the parking garage, and it like echoed. And like he was leaning against there was a Ghostbusters vehicle there. So he was leaning against that in this parking garage, doing that. And that was, it was a great experience. because he's one of the ones that likes interacting with fans, and that was before we had 8 security guards escorting everyone to and from, because there was at least some decorum of how you handled a voice actor or a celebrity. You gave them their space. If they said, hey, I'm on my way
Hmm.
somewhere, you left them alone. You respected them, and you don't get to have those moments, like just surprise monologue moments, as much anymore, because and
No,
it's for
you
their own
don't.
protection. They're funneled to and from with
As
security guards and back passages.
as someone who's been interviewing special guests in person at cons for like 4 years now, um, yeah, no, you gotta be mindful. Yes,
Mhm.
they voiced, they've played in your favorite stuff, but you also got to think they're a human being just like everybody else. They want their own
Yeah,
space. They don't, like they don't owe us anything. They're some of them are to work because they get paid. Some of them, yes, are there to, but like if they're busy, let them be.
yeah,
If they're gonna go out to eat, let them be. Like, because they're exhausted because they're at their tables for who knows how long, having to sign autographs, chat with people, shake their hand, give them hugs and everything, and that takes a lot out of them. Like,
yeah.
I've seen how drained some voice actors can be at a con.
That there's this the saying, cosplay is not consent. Like, being the voice of a character is not consent. Just like, just because they're your comfort character, doesn't mean that you have any sort of ownership or anything like that over their energy or their time or anything like that. They come to these conventions, and it's a privilege. There are a lot of voice actors, or actors, that won't go to conventions because they've had really bad interactions with
Oh yeah,
fans.
no. And sometimes it's with staff too. Like I've heard some
Hmm.
cases where, staff is like just like, being mean to the attendees, and like the guests will see that. It's like, hey, if you keep on mistreating these guests, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah.
And of course, some cons will blame attendees, like, no, it's your staff that's being rude. Like I've seen staff be rude. I mean, other times I've seen special guests be rude too, because, like, but I get it, things happen. Like I've seen, like, because their agent uh booked them for several panels,
Yeah.
and next thing you know that they're not able to go, and or sometimes they'll have handlers themselves that will bring them food or something. If they're gonna be at their table for so long, they're gonna go grab them coffee or something to
Yeah.
eat so they can, like, while there's no one in line, they can, eat real quick just so they have something in their system. So anyone watching this, you got just in general, whether you're going, working, stuff like that, just be mindful and respectful. Yes,
Hmm.
I get it. Everyone can be on edge, but at the end of the day, we're all here to be at this event to have a good time. Be a don't be a tool.
Yeah. Don't be a tool. That needs to be a banner over every entrance. Don't be a tool. Number one rule.
Oregon, all Oregon, and I'm gonna have to bleep this whole thing out. To quote from one of my favorite um web series, "Don't be a cock-butting fucktard." Gotta throw in some red versus blue in there. Um, two more things. What kind of impact has this had on you as a whole, doing the cosplay, entering the competitions and everything?
It's had a fairly big impact for me specifically. Like I said, my family was, very conservative. So I didn't really get to express a lot of things like my creativity or my artwork or anything like that. And had I just stayed in that lane and had I not been exposed to cosplay and anime, comics, a lot of this, creative stuff that people just want to have fun with, I probably wouldn't, I wouldn't be the same, wouldn't be the same person, would have gone a very different direction. And I think that a lot of this art and cosplay has definitely helped me with a lot of my depression and anxiety that I have. Um, for one, my grandpa, he was probably one of the main or the only real positive influences that I had in my youth. And he loved art. He loved welding. He loved fixing things in particular, thrifting and fixing things, and just taking something old and making it new and all that kind of stuff. So when he found out that I liked this stuff, he was super supportive. He would go dumpster diving and he'd find tools for me. A lot of the tools that I use for my props and whatnot are old tools that he dug out of dumpsters or he'd found at estate sales or got at pick and pull. Um, and he would get them and give them to me so I could try out, the weird things that I want to do. And just having that kind of, support and, knowing that, he was behind me with my artwork and everything, kind of pushed me forward to do these cosplays more. And he always wanted to see, what was I going to do next. And, I almost stopped for a little while when he passed, because I didn't necessarily have that, but I just kept hearing, his voice, what do you want to do next? What are you going to try? What tool do you have to go find? What are you going to fix? And, I use that and I keep that to keep going and try new stuff. So, wherever he is, I have that and it helps me, process that and process his loss and just find ways to make my world a little more beautiful.
I think, it sounds like he was definitely your big supporter.
Yeah.
My condolences to your grandpa. It's never easy when like you're losing that one support, whether it be a friend, a family member, or even like a pet, for example.
Yeah.
Even though pets don't really like, even though pets can't talk, they're there to be there for you. So, but I'm
Mhm.
glad that you kept on pushing through. Again, never easy when you lose someone close to you.
Yeah, no, he was, everybody, like you said, everybody has, something where they've got a supporter, they have something that, definitely drives you to keep going. And he's definitely one of the big things that, drove me to keep going and to find the reasons why I should keep going just for myself. Not necessarily for, him anymore, but, why I love it. And I definitely love sitting there with his old grinder sparking in the middle of the night, trimming down corset boning. That is that's a something I enjoy, and he led me to that, and I'm gonna keep doing weird, probably non-advisable things with the tools he gave me.
We're adults. We know what we're doing.
I, no one should ever look to me for tools. We didn't have back then. We didn't, no one told us, hey, this was toxic. Hey, don't do this. We didn't have a lot of
Oh
those
wait,
things.
I'm supposed to wear a respirator when trimming things for my cosplay. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
supposed
or
to do
standing
that
foam
outside.
or, all this stuff. Like we didn't
Oh wait,
have that
I'm
information when
supposed
we
to spray
started.
paint outside.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
I'm
oh
gonna
god.
just like be spraying got to be on a wig one day like that TikTok and just fall down dead because that's
Well,
because I've
what happened?
inhaled
What happened?
probably so many horrible fumes. Buy respirators, people. Wear respirators.
And get those
Get
filters
those.
too.
Yeah, get the filters. Get.
Home Depot is a good one. Walmart too.
Mhm.
Like, but
Yeah.
if you want good quality, I would recommend like Home Depot or any home supply store, because they'll sell
Mhm.
the respirators and they'll sell the filters too.
Yeah. And run air filters. Like if you have a shop or your craft room or something like that, run a regular air filter. Make sure your home, if you're doing it like in your kitchen table, in your garage or anywhere, just make sure your like home air filters are also clear. Because if you're doing stuff like that, like years
Or
ago when I completely,
open window.
yeah, open a window, yeah. Even if that, like we had a filter that ended up being dyed because I completely dyed my Flareon costume on the kitchen stove with Rit dye
Oh,
over the course
oh,
of
the
3 days.
irony! Oh, the irony of being on a kitchen stove.
Yeah,
Just heat
and
and flare on being.
and our air filter for just our regular air circulation was pink and red. So
Oh no!
because it goes up into the air
Oh
because of the
no! I
steam
mean,
and like
true, it
everything.
does.
hmm Um, but yeah, that's follow safety rules and regulations.
No, I mean that's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing to have. So last question. What type of advice would you want to give to those who, everything we talked about? Any last minute advice you want to throw out there for those who are listening and watching this?
Really, just be unapologetically and authentically you in how you cosplay and what you bring to a convention and just in your enjoyment. This is supposed to be our fun time, our enjoyment, it's a vacation from our normal lives. And if we get caught up in making it a job, making it marketable, making it consumable, or if we get caught up in, winning the awards, or anything like that, or having a brand new cosplay every time, or going to every con, um, it definitely just breeds, some burnout, and what gave you joy may no longer give you joy at some point. Experience, your fandoms, your cosplay in your way, and do it at your pace, and you'll have fun.
I can't argue with that, honestly. I know it's really, and it's pretty much the advice you give is like the advice everyone has been given on here for the past 5 years now. Oh wow, 5 years since this has been. Oh, that's right. Yeah, got the episode coming on that soon. But yeah, no, that's really good sound advice.
And it's amazing that we have to keep on giving it.
Oh, I mean, whether you're new to this, whether you've been doing it for years, or and there are some cosplayers out there who no longer cosplay, but they love to
Mhm.
give advice. They still will like do commissions because
Yeah,
they still like to have that part of them, and or those who just no longer do it because they're burned out because this the community can sometimes be full of toxic assholes
yeah.
or people who like to or like people who like to spread misinformation. Just saying. But yeah, no. I think that should do it. Last but not least, where can people find you on social media if they want to stay up to date with your cosplays, your competitions, and all that fun stuff?
I'm on Instagram. That's where you'll find me most often. I am on Facebook and TikTok, but I'm never on TikTok. I don't really post TikToks. So
Sure.
Chaos and Motion Cosplay. If you Google that, my Insta will pop up, and that's the easiest place to find me.
Well, again, Chaos, thank you for coming on. Hopefully, see you at a con here this
Yeah,
year because I know you and Mutt usually travel to the same cons
yeah, we do.
every now and again. But again, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to see what you do in the future. And that should do it for this episode. As always, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and shout out to those who follow and support.